now, Francois, which will then lead us to our next section, which is called camera trainer, because you might have a situation where you have a different type of object that you would like to detect, which is not standard of part of the classification that is built into the Bosch camera. So where you as the integrator really need, or you have a bespoke solution, or you need a bespoke solution where the camera needs to detect something which is not part of our Bosch classification. And this, of course, will allow for improved accuracy and operational safety and efficiency. And it also allows for new business opportunities, as I will explain in my next few slides. So if we can go to the next slide, please, Francois. I think I've just spoken about that slide now about camera trainers. So let's move one on, because I would really like to give you guys some use cases or some examples of where you can make use of camera trainer. So in this case, perfect solution. You can use camera trainer to detect user-defined objects. And I like to always make use of an example of trolleys. If you look at your standard wall, your trolley that is supplied by the mall, that trolley is between 2,500 and 3,500 Rand each. And as you guys will know, of course, they get stolen quite often as you see them next to the street.
We saw a lot of them traveling KZN last week.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, we saw a lot of them out in the street. Yes, 100% correct. In this case, you can actually train. You as the integrator, this is not something that you need to wait for Bosch. You as the integrator, within a matter of minutes, can actually train the camera to detect this specific object, in this case a trolley, set up the analytics or make use of the 16 analytics within the camera, and then detect this specific object that you have trained the camera to detect. So let's give you an example. As the trolley is being pushed over a certain point or into a restricted area, the camera will immediately detect a trolley in a restricted area, and this information will be sent through to the operator. You can also...
Yes, sorry, Nick, I think just we got a question here. The question is, can you use camera trainer on a PDZ to train a PDZ to recognize an object?
Yes, very good question. You can, 100% correct. So once again, for our 7,000 to 9,000 range of PTZ cameras, that is possible. So you can train the camera to detect basically almost any object of your choice. And in this case, once again, while the camera is moving, because your full analytics is still available, you can still make use of camera trainer and still detect this in the field of view, in the scene, while the camera is moving.
You can deploy it on top of your standard set of rules.
Correct. And in this case, like I've said, you can also recognize user-defined situations like open barriers, basically anything that you would like to train the camera on.
We had some fun by testing a firearm detection. We took some plastic firearms that I legally got from my children, and we played with it, and we got some very accurate hits on firearm detection. And the setup was quite quick and easy. It took us all of 20 minutes, and we were up and running.
100% correct. Just to show you a few use cases, real use cases, as Francois got there on the screen. So this was where we've trained the camera to do flood detection. We have actually drawn some objects on the side wall of a river, and then we've trained the camera to detect the occupancy or the total of these objects. We have then asked the camera that if the occupancy gets to a certain level, in this case occupancy of 2, the operator needs to immediately be notified that the level has reached the level, or the level of the water has reached a level which is dangerous, and the people needs to be notified. So just a brilliant use case. Then the next use case we can move on to is where we had a dangerous situation where a forklift and an upright walking person is not allowed to be in the same scene, because this can cause a dangerous situation. And we've trained the camera to detect the difference between an upright walking person and a forklift. And as soon as these two enter the same scene,
same field of view,
the same field of view, this information once again was sent through to the operator and also triggered an alarm to notify the forklift operator to immediately stop. So there's so many use cases you can make use of camera trainer.
Yeah, sorry, just another question. A lot of people, a logistics company, have problems with forklifts going out of areas, out of bounds, and then the other one is speed. So someone's asked about speed. Would you be able to, if someone's riding that forklift too fast, create an alert?
Yes, yes, perfect. And I like this. I mean, this is really generating a lot of questions for us. So in this case, yes, you can train the camera to detect a forklift. Of course, your metadata that's being shared by the camera, where you can detect the speed of your object. And in this case, the camera trainer object you've trained it on. You can then combine this also with entering a restricted area. So as this forklift is being picked up by the camera, entering a restricted area, or even speeding within that restricted area, this information will immediately be pushed through to the operator, and alarm would be sound, a workflow will be generated depending on how you've set it up, or even a siren can be sound in this case.
You can even monitor the
one more question. One more question. I'm sure the answer is yes. So if there are more than 2 forklifts in an area, you could also create alert on that, I take it.
Yes, 100% correct. So you can have as many forklifts as you would like to have within the field of view. As long as it's in the field of view of the camera and you have trained the camera to detect a forklift, the camera will detect the forklift. And then you can associate this with the alarm or the analytic of your choice.
Maybe to jump a bit into that one, because it's a very good example, is we have a standard counting application built into our cameras. So the camera trainer will push the information back to the counting applicator. The counting applicator will start running and say our occupancy is maximum of 50, as an example. And once it reaches that 50, it will send the notification out. So we use a bit of standard analytics, a bit of standard rules, and then on top what we train onto the camera.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, if we could...
So there's a lot of questions here, but
that's good.
Do all Bosch cameras detect speed, and can it detect vehicles in an estate?
Yes, yes, 100% correct. So all Bosch cameras, as part of the metadata, can detect the speed of the object. And of course, this information can be shared to one of our IPP partners. So in the case of a vehicle speeding, you can set up that as soon as the vehicle then speeds, let's say, for example, faster than 60 km an hour within a complex, that this set up as an analytical setup as an alarm then immediately gets pushed through to the operator.
It's not a speed trap camera. Don't confuse the two, where it will take a flash and send you a traffic fine. It detects the pixels moving and it counts the pixel move, and it sends us to this software applicator, and the software applicator notifies the control room.
Okay, I think let's continue. Maybe if there's more questions, we can have them at the end as well. Just as I'm just looking at the time currently there. So I want to show you guys just one more example for the camera trainer. Quentin touched on it very briefly. And this is where we can do occupancy. We can train the camera to detect, in this case, for example, open parking spaces. As you guys know, who's worked in the parking business, for example, it's quite expensive because if you need to pick or detect open parking spaces, you need to run or install a sensor above each and every parking space, which means there's labor involved, conduit, cable, and this information then needs to be shared with the operator. In this case, the camera can be trained to actually detect the difference between an open or available parking spot and an occupied parking spot. And all of that can happen in the field of the view of the camera. So you can do 20 at a time, even if you need to, it's also